of network is that to share to share the data between what is this multiple remote missions over the over the I will write later that word. Let me first conclude this. Between multiple remote machines or multiple remote devices. Best example is what? Your social media content. Is it shared by multiple people or not? Multiple devices are sharing or not? So that today the fastest communication, even in the marketing sector, even in digital marketing, you know that. Even in the news broadcasting, what is the fastest communication device? Is through network only. You take banking sector, you take any insurance sector, you take even in healthcare sector. What is the fastest test reporting will be done? Through what? Networking only. So because of this networking, so many issues are solved in exchanging the data. So the purpose of network programming is to share the data between what? Multiple remote machines or devices which are located. Now I'm writing which are located either in come on, same network, either in same network or in where different network, either in same network or in where different network. You take ATMs. In earlier days, they used to have to provide only the ATMs of SBI customer can withdraw the money only from SBIs, if you remember. Nowadays, later RBI relaxed the rules or not. Any person can withdraw the money from any of the ATM. What it indicates? Either from same network or from where? Different network. This is the purpose of what? Network establishment. Back to FiberNet, you take it. You take any of the service providers, internet service providers. How that internet broadcasting can be done? Through what? Networking. They will establish the physical network so that transmission of the data can be done or not. So to transmit the data, to share the data between multiple devices or multiple machines, physical network has to be established. So to share the data, to share the data, to share the data between what is this now? Multiple remote machines or devices across the same network or different network between multiple devices which are located either in same network or in different network. There must exist what? Physical network, physical network establishment, network establishment. This is a very, very important point. That means if my two devices want to interact to each other, our two laptops must be interconnected to each other. Then only the data exchanging can be done. Otherwise, we cannot go for any data exchanging. Are you able to follow? So what is the use of networking? After establishing the physical networking, we will write the code for what? Exchanging the data. That is called which programming? Network programming. The code written for sharing the data over the physical network establishment is called what? Network programming. So the code we write for exchanging the data, for exchanging the data, for exchanging the data over the physical network, over the physical network, over the physical network. The code we write for exchanging the data over the physical network is called what? Network programming. Network programming. I am just giving introduction. Are you able to follow? The code we write for exchanging the data over the physical network is called network programming. Now I want to give you. So to exchange the data between two devices or between two devices over the network, what things must be done? Two things must be done. One is network establishment and code to be written. Code to be written. That thing will make us to exchange the data. Now I am writing definition of network. Definition of network. Tell me now, what is the definition of network? Take SBI, banking operations. Head office is there in Mumbai. Any of the corner of the branch is connected to the head office or not? In head office, what are maintained? High-end servers will be maintained. The total application will run over there. Any transaction is done, that will be monitored from the head office. So all the branches of SBI are connected to whom? Head office. And all the branches are interconnected to each other. The type of setup is known as what? Network definition. I'll write a simple thing. This is an SBI head office. SBI head office. And this is called Hyderabad, Signabad, Bangalore, etc., AP, Amirpet, SR Nagar, Dilsukh Nagar, etc., High Tech City, etc. All of them are interconnected to each other, and everything is connected to whom? Over the network, they are connected to what? Each and everything is interconnected to each other. This type of setup is defined as what? Network. What is the definition of network? A network is a collection of interconnected. See that? Interconnected. Autonomous computers. What do you mean by autonomous? When server starts, then only client starts. The type of thing is no. Independently, they can do the operation. Collection of interconnected autonomous computers. Connected with whom? Server. Is called the definition of network. Is a pure definition of network. A network, I am going to write it. A network is a collection of what? Interconnected. I'm writing here. Interconnected. So I'm writing here interconnected autonomous computers. Autonomous computers connected with, connected with what? Server. Is called what? Is called network. Is called network, or I wrote already. So a network is a collection of interconnected autonomous computers connected with the server. Connected with server. That's all. A network is a collection of interconnected autonomous computers connected with what? Server. Simple example. If you think in a systematic manner, this is my server. I will explain what is server. This is a client. This is a client. What client can do? Send a request to the server. Server will do what? Receive the request, process it, and gives the response back. This type of model will be considered as what? Client server application development, we can call. You want to verify your JEE mains result. You want to verify your intermediate results, or you want to verify your college, your BTech results. What is the system called? You'll go to your website, college website, or JNTU website, or Usman University website, or any of your concerned university website. Results form is there. You will enter your hall ticket number. That's called a client. Browser side you are entering, and that request will go to the server. Server will look into the database and bring your details or not. What it is called? Client server application, we can call. So that I am explaining through the Python programming here. So a network is always considered as two devices. One is considered as a server device. One more is considered as a client device. Did you catch my point first of all? So network contains how many programs? Two programs. One is client side program. One more is right. Now I'm writing to develop network based applications. Network based applications. Network based applications. We must define two types of programs. Two types of programs. They are number one is called what? Client side program. First I will write server side program. Server side program. Next is called what? Second one is client side program. Don't take much time. Try to understand quickly. Sir, what is client side program? Definition of client side program. Definition of server side program I will write. Definition of Definition of server-side program, I will write it. Definition of server-side program, I will write it. Next, I will write it. Next, I will write it. Definition of what? Client-side program. Definition of client-side program, I will write it. Can anybody can say what is server-side program? First of all, what is the important program here? Server-side or client-side? Server-side. Simple, students, don't take much difficulty. The conversation between the student and teacher is called one type of client-side application only. Client and server-side application only. The conversation between friend 1 and friend 2 is called what? Client server application only. If you have the clear-cut knowledge about this now, network programming is dead easy. Dead easy, that's all. Think very systematically, you will get the things. You will get through that. And the same coding also you will write it. Come on. Definition of server-side program. Tell me. A server-side program will do what actually? Receive the client request. And comma, next what? Process the client-side request. And gives response back to the client-side program. That is called what program? Yes. How to, I will tell you. How to receive, how to process, how to give the response. For receiving, one function is there. For processing, I will apply our logic to write in the program. And for giving the result back, one more function is there. Simple. When you ordered some dress at that courier or some Flipkart person came to your home, what he will do? The person who came, he brought one request for you. And what he will do? He will receive. Correct or not? The moment when you receive, next what he will do? The moment when you receive, what he will do? Open. Opening is nothing but what? You will see what data came and you will read out the data. After reading the data, you are going to give the response back. Correct or not? Same mechanism, I am going to use the functions. Nothing difficult. Tell me, a server-side program is one. A server-side program is one, which accepts, what is this now? Client-side program request. Client-side program request, comma, which accepts client-side program request, comma, process the client-side program request, process client-side program request, process the client-side program request, and gives what? Response. Gives response back to what? Client-side program. This is called server-side activity. There I will do some steps. Come to client-side. A client-side program is one. A client-side program is one. I am writing. Come on, students. A client-side program is one. Which send, which will send what? Request. Which will send what? Request to what? Server-side program. Server-side program and obtains what? Response from where? Server-side program. Response from server-side program. This is comes under what? Meaning of what? Client-side program. Is it clear? Well, coming to this place. Next, I am talking about one more type of. Are you getting this introduction? I am about to write the steps, students. Next, I am going to take one small example here. One diagram I will draw. One diagram I will write it. Already you know that, but I don't know whether you remembered or not. That's why I'm drawing the diagram again. I already explained PDBC, Python database communication, correct? Python with Oracle, Python with MySQL, correct? What we did, first step, import the module. Next step, connection. If you want to get the connection, what is required? Most important thing to know. I must know the name of the machine, in which machine my server-side program is developed, or in which machine my database is available. That you must remember today. This is called my server-side application. This is called my client-side application. This is called a client-side application. Here I am writing. I am writing client-side program. I am writing client-side program. I am writing. Next I am writing what server-side program. I am writing. This is called a server-side program. Here I am writing server-side program. I am writing. There I am going to pass it. A request is made. A request is made. And next I am going to take up and response is going to come from this place. Here I am going to get this response. Here I am going to get it. Here I am going to say request I am going to send, and request will come from where? So request is going to come from client side. Response is going to come from, and this type of things can happen over the network. This is called what? Network. This can happen over the network. This can happen over the network. Students, very, very easy, not a difficult. See students, in this server means what? Server means there is no special quality. You are doing the particular mission is a server side mission. Suppose when you look, me and you, when they look outside, they will think that they are going to be some people who are living in Amirpet. They will think like that, correct? So many people are walking on the road. I am myself and yourself going outside. They don't know that I am a teacher. They don't know that you are a Python student, correct? But when they come to the class, they will come to know based on the way you are sitting. You are sitting opposite to me. I am sitting opposite to you. So I am a teacher. You are a student. So when they come to the environment, they will come to know having server qualities, having what things. When you become tomorrow, you may sit here. Somebody may be sitting over there. That you will become what? Server. So server is nothing but quality of properties you are going to inject in that program. So what is the server side program? There are some 6 steps you are writing. Some 6 steps you are writing there. Those 6 steps will make you to go for what? Server side program. Here you are writing some more 5 steps you are writing here. Here you are writing 5 steps. Those 5 steps will make you as what? Client side program. So let me start here. What is server side program? Again, I am saying server side program, there is no special name. I am writing a program with 6 steps. Those 6 steps are making that program is a server side program. So my program name is called xyz.py. This py is present into one of the machine called whose name is called M2. If a client side program want to send a request to XYZ, first of all, I must know in which machine my program is present. That is what is called, in our database level, we used to write local host. Did you remember? Or 127.0.0.1 I used to say. This is simply called as what? DNS. What is the DNS? It is the name of the physical machine where our server side program resides. That day I told what? DNS is the name of the physical machine where our database software resides. Are you able to get or not? Something like that. Now I am going to write it. So, Giridharan, no full forms. Definition of DNS. Your favorite answer, domain naming service. Domain naming service. No full forms. No full forms. Tell me what is the DNS? DNS is the name of the physical machine. Is the name of the physical machine where server side program resides. Where server side program resides. In whichever physical machine my server side program resides, we call it as what? DNS. Wherever my database software resides, that machine is called what? DNS. Wherever my server software resides, it is called what? DNS. Simple. Coming to this, the default DNS of every computer, is what? Localhost. When you go to the companies, they will give their own name will be given. That name they will explain. They will give you the details, connection details. They will tell you this is a so and so machine acting as a server. They will tell you the name of your server machine. That name you will use in place of local host. Are you following? Next is called one more thing. Definition of what I will write it. IP address. Definition of IP address. Definition of IP address. It is called what? Internet Internet protocol, Internet protocol address. Internet protocol address, IP stands for Internet protocol address. Are you following me? So when you go for making any www.gmail.com, internally it has some name, some address will be there. That is called IP address. So an IP address, here I will write it. An IP address, here I am writing, an IP address is the numerical value numerical address of the physical machine where server side program resides. You are coming to the class Naresh I Technologies, and this is we are coming on the name. Some people can suppose somebody don't know this, they will come based on the address or not. That is called what? IP address. Only name is called what? DNS. So how many ways people can locate? Either DNS format or IP address format they locate it. Either DNS format or IP address format they can locate. The default DNS of every computer is what? Localhost. Are you able to follow? So now the default IP address of every computer is, come on, what is this now? 127.0.0.1. This is comes under default IP address. I hope students, you are understanding about the simple definition. Are you able to get it? Next. So either you will pass DNS or you will pass what? IP address. Next, one more thing. See students, in this local host, there is the X server side program, Y server side program, Z server side program, K server side program, and then M server side program like that. When the request, there are multiple people are there who are requesting from each and every server side program. So when a client is making a request, coming to everybody's request will come to this mission. But to which kind of program services required, this you need to expect it. This indicates something like coming to Naresh I Technologies, attending in KVR class, attending some XYZ class, attending PQR class. Each person will have some room number is there or not? Room number. In room number 1, my class is there. In room number 2, somebody's class. In room number 3, somebody's class. In room number 4, somebody's class is there. This room number 1, 2, 3, 4 are called what? Port numbers we can call. What numbers? Port numbers. Like in our colleges, all people will go to the same college. But room number 1, room number 2, some division of the students will be there or not? Those room numbers are called what? Port numbers. So if we want to speak to some X program or Y program or Z program, each program in the server side must have what? Unique port number is required. Are you getting my point? Like unique class numbers required in the college or not? Like that. Students in online, I hope you are following. Now I am talking about definition of, come on, port number. Definition of port number. What is the port number now? What is the port number? A port number, a port number is a numerical logical ID. Logical ID. A port number is a logical numerical ID where server side program is running. Server side program is running. Residing location is decided by DNS and IP address. Port number is decided by whom? Port number is deciding what location? Running location. So if you want to speak to the server side program, what are the things to pass? Tell me. If I want to get service from the server side program, what client must pass first? Madhubabalu, to come to my class, what is required? You need to come to NIT or not? Or you need to come to NIT address or not? After that, you need to come to room number 1 or not? What is this is called? IP address or DNS, comma, what is this one called? Room number. That is called port number. Is it the way to attend my class or not? You are coming to DNS. In the DNS, you are entering into the port number. Then your services can be processed, right or not? So, I'm going to say DNS and IP address are called what? Server side program residing locations. Port number is called what? Running location. NIT is my residing location. NIT address is called my residing location. Room number 1 is called my class running location. Something like that. Hence, now I'm writing any client. Now I'm going to write it. Hence, any client side program, any client side program, any client side program want to communicate with what program? Server side program. Want to communicate with server side program. Any client side program want to communicate with server side program, then client side program must, sorry, correct. Client side program must pass what? DNS or what here? DNS, DNS or what? IP address, comma what? Port number. You need to pass like this. Must pass DNS, comma IP address, comma what? Port number. You need to pass it so that you can get the results. Did you understand this entire introduction? Online students, what is the use of networking? What is the definition of network? Server side program, client side program, DNS, IP address, how to communicate with the server side program by the client. These are the important things. Now I am going to move to the further. Now I am going to write it. Steps for developing which side application? Client server application. Steps for developing, I'll write it, developing network based application. Network based applications. Network based applications. Now I'm going to talk about it. Network based applications. Here I'm writing to develop network based applications. We must write two types of programs. To develop network based applications, we have to write two types of programs. I already said they are. What is the first one? So server side program, number one, server side program. Second one is called what? Client side program. Client side program I am going to take. There I am going to define how to develop server side program. How to develop client side program. I am going to give you the clarity here. Development of client side program. Development of server side program I am going to write. First one I am talking. Here I am writing. Development of or steps for developing. I will write like this. Steps for developing which applications? Server side applications. Steps for developing server side applications as developing server side programs. There I will go for it. Similarly, I'll go for like this. Steps for developing client side program. This is called the second one. I am going to talk about it. So here, let us talk about the first, number one, number two, number three, number four, number five, number six. I may write less or more also, not a problem. I am expecting I can write in 6 steps. Do you remember how many steps are there to write PDBC application? To write a Python database communication, how many steps I written it? Huh? Not good. Not remembering now. How many steps? Huh? Option A 6, option B 5, option C 7, option 8, option D 4. Huh? 5. Good. Wrong answer that is. 6. Sixth one is optional. Closing the connection is optional. అదే సార్ మేము చెప్పింది. Sixth one removing and fifth one by 5. Don't compromise by yourself. 6 totally. Sixth is called optional. Do you remember the first one? What is the first one? Import the module. Correct. Tell me. Import the correct. What you are saying is correct. I am saying for everything you will think wrong. Say one. Import the module. Which module? Either CX underscore Oracle or Oracle DB or MySQL dot connector. Anything you are doing importing the module or not? Yes. So here also, first step I am doing import what? Import. Just now I said now import which module? Socket module. Import socket module and other modules if required. And other modules if required. Here also I will write it. Here also I will write it. Well, good. Now I am asking one beautiful question. You have to respond. If you don't respond, I will also simply sit quiet and calm. Now, students, what is socket? Here, after finishing that, I will go for next part is called what? Module name for developing this part. Now I am asking a question. What is a socket? And don't tell socket is a module. I am not asking the concept of socket module. I am generally asking the meaning of socket. Whatever you know, you tell me. No problem. Gattu Vinay is saying that, what is that? Charging point. Okay, Vinay, good. Giridharan is saying to an access to something. Okay, okay. Online students. Okay. So Durga is saying that import socket module and other modules if required. Okay, that is okay. Now I'm talking about what is socket. మీకు ఏం తెలుసో చెప్తే నేను happy. Whatever you know, if you say, I will be happy. Don't know socket? Are you seeing this wireless mic? What is this is called? My laptop charger, one end is connecting, another end is connecting there. What is that? Both the ends are connected with two ends or not? One end is supplying the power, one end is receiving the power. Correct or not? If the same thing, you take power bank, you take it. When you charge in your home, it is received, power bank is receiving. When you come out, that power bank is connected to your mobile. That power bank is itself is a sender or not? What is the socket? A socket is one of the bidirectional communication entity which acts as a sender come receiver. When you are taking your mobile charging, one you are keeping the plug, one more pin you are keeping to your mobile. The both connecting points are there, na? They are simply called as sockets. And don't think too much about your electronic sockets. Take this because I am talking purely programmatically. I am connecting the general knowledge here. What is a socket? A socket is one of the bidirectional communication entity to connect two endpoints. Understood? So, socket I will create at how many sites? Two sites. At which side I will create? Server side I will create. Client side also I will create. When I create a socket at client side, it is called what? Client socket. When I created server side, it is called what socket? Server socket. What server socket will do? Receive client socket, process it, gives response to client socket. Client socket will do what? Send the request to what? Server socket, get the response. Import socket module and other modules if required. Second step, in socket module, there is a function called socket off. There is a function called what? Socket off. That function I will create. Which side I will create? Both the sides I will create. Why? Socket is existing both the sides. It is acting as what? Sender come receiver. Are you following? Both of us are called what? Sockets only. But one socket will give the knowledge, one more socket will receive it. Both of them are human beings only. One socket will give the subject, one more socket will receive it. Tomorrow you may tell to somebody else. You are going to be the giving the lecture. Others will listen you. Are you able to get my point? So I am going to say, what is the next one? Create an object of, create an object of socket. Create a socket object. If you feel comfortable, if you feel difficulty, create a socket object. Create a socket object. Create a socket object. Yes, created. Here also I will create what? Socket object. But what is the difference between creating a socket object and creating the socket object in both the sides? One socket is bind with what? This socket. This socket. Which socket? Client side socket. Connected to whom? Socket which is created at the server side. So the server side socket is binding with a certain mission to qualify that mission as a server side mission. Yes or no? So, see, you are staying in the hostel. Who are you? Student. You are working in the company. Who are you? Employee. How you become an employee? Because of the quality of the person. When you are doing the project, you are an employee. When you are just sitting, staying in the hostel, you are a guest or some student you are. Are you following? Depends on your quality of the code you write, that becomes. Here I am going to write. Every server create a socket object and connect to whom? Connect to whom? Server side program. Server side program called what here? Server socket. Server socket. Are you following me? Create an object, create a socket object and connect it to the server and obtain. If you want, I can write and obtain connection from the server. Connection from server side program. From server side program. I hope you are understanding. This is called which socket? Client socket. What about this socket? Server socket. So client socket connected to the server socket. How can you say that it is a server socket? Suppose I am there, I am a server socket. I was bind with Naresh IT or not? You are connected to me, correct or not? That means every server socket must bind with what? Certain machine and should run at certain port number. I bind with Naresh IT and I am running at room number 1. Yes or no? So what server socket can do? When can you say it is a server socket? When can you say it is a client socket? Every client socket connected to the server socket. Every server socket binds with what? Certain PC and run at certain port number. Then only we call it as what? Server side program. Are you following me? So let us follow. Create a socket object and makes it to bind. Makes it to bind. I am using the word called makes it to bind with certain machine. Certain machine. It is nothing but what? DNS or what? IP address and port number. Port number. That's all. How to bind it? There is one function is there. I'll tell you. Are you getting? Next, third. What is the third? Yes, binding. It is running. It is available. Ready. 24/7 it is running. Client connected. To whom? Server socket. What next? Student is coming. Called client socket. Come on. Every, hmm, every, come on, student. Client side program. Every client side program. In the bracket, what is it? client socket must send the request to whom? Server side program. Server side program is nothing but I said already what? Server socket. Every client side program must send the request to the server side program. I hope you are following. Done. The moment when you send the request to the server side program, what will happen, students? What will happen, students? The server side program, every server side program, which I already said to you, which socket? Server socket, every server side program must accept, ACCEPT, must accept which request? Client side program request. Client side must accept the client side program request, which is nothing but what socket? Yes. So who is accepting what? Server socket accept the client socket. And aim let. When I accept it, I will accept client socket plus its address also. When you send a mail, I will know your mail ID plus from which IP address that mail has come, I will also get it. Of course, it won't show. It won't show. Suppose one wrong mail came, some mail came, which is just some fraud mail came. Will you complain to the people or not? They will come to know from which computer, from which IP address that mail has come. Will they discover or not? Are you getting? So they will communicate with that. They will locate that place. They will go there and they will investigate. That means when I receive the client request, server side program will receive how many things? Two things. One is address from where it come, from which client socket that request has come. Two things I will get it. That is number one. I hope you are getting it. Are you able to follow? When somebody came some parcel to me, I will accept first. I will come to know from address will be there in that or not. From whom I am getting, from which address it is coming, I will come to know. After that, what I will do? Every server side program, I am writing here, every server side program must read the data coming from, where? Client side program. Must read the data coming from where? Client side program. How to read the data? I will tell you. And process. Process it. Are you following? I will write capital letters. మీరు ముందే గజనీలు, మీకు గుర్తుండదు ఎక్కువ. మస్ట్ ప్రాసెస్. హియర్ ఐ రోట్ బైండ్, అంటే బైండ్ ఫంక్షన్. యాక్సెప్ట్, వాట్ ఫంక్షన్? Accept function. And don't think that read function and don't think that process function. There I will do something else. Next I am going to say sixth one. What is the sixth one? Process. I processed it. Once you processed it, what will happen? You need to give the response back to the client or not? I am writing every server side program must send. Every server side program must send result, must send the result, or called what? Result. What is this now? Response. To whom? Client side program. How I will send the data to client side program? Not in plain text. I should send it into bytes format. Bytes, long ago bytes, end-to-end encryption. Yes, I will use what? This type of send. Every server side program must send the result or response to the client side program. Yes, I will send it. Are you following? With this, what is happening? The moment when you send, what will happen? What client will do? Every client side program that is called a client socket must receive, RECIVE, must receive the result or what? Response from where? Server side program is nothing but server socket. Yes, it is received. Are you following? Next, what I will do? You asked a doubt, I responded. Next, what I will do? Second doubt. Second doubt is nothing but what? Again, I will go for this or not. You will ask me a second request. Here, what will happen? Third step, fourth step, fifth step. It will go on giving until your request will be closed. Yes or no? So, for multiple requests, for multiple client side program request, for multiple client side program requests, requests, repeat, repeat, step number 3 and what? Step number 4. Yes or no? You send a request, response it. The moment when you repeat step 3, step 4, this side what will happen? For multiple responses, for multiple client-side program requests, for multiple server-side program responses, server-side program responses, I will write here, responses, repeat, what is that? Step 3, step 4, and what? Step 5. And what here, step 5. Are you able to follow? Step 3, step 3, step 4, and step 5 until all the request of client is completed. These things are just like what? Conversation between two friends. Come on. You asked me a doubt. You asked me a doubt. I will accept your doubt. I will read your doubt data and I will prepare my I prepared my answer. I will give my answer to you. What you will do? You will receive my answer. One more time you want us to say, repeat the step. Send a next request, next doubt. I will accept the next doubt. I will read the next doubt data and process it. I am giving the answer for that. Yes, I received your answer also. You are repeating 3 and 4 for multiple requests. I will repeat what 3, 4 for 4, 5 for multiple responses. This will be continued until my total program request and response model is completed. Okay, now understood the steps? Students in online, these steps I hope it is clear. Now I am entering into the module name for development of client server applications. Students, response important. When I'm going to implement these steps, you must go for this. Must obtain. Here I will write the connection. Connection. This is an important. Must do what? Send. Must send. Okay. Now I'm going to introduce. Here I'm going to this I will save it. Let us save. Go to your place. Here I am going to take 6 p.m. I'll take up networks. Inside of that, I'll take notes. Inside you just to save this now. Done. And before that, introduction to this I will say. Let me save. There I will take up introduction to network programming. This I will take it index. Go to the place. Here I am taking 6 p.m. network. Now I'm going to take up. You have seen so many functions and this is nothing today. Come on now. Start with what is this? For developing networking based applications in Python. For developing networking based applications in Python, we use what module? Socket module. Socket module. Now I'm going to write it. The socket module contains the following. Contains the following functions. Contains the following functions. Let me write the functions one by one. Let me write the functions one by one. Here I am writing. Take care. Now here I am writing some rough work. I will write it. So rough work I am writing. Let us first one Easy. There are 6 to 7 functions are there. Almost you have heard the concept. Now functions also you will easily understand. Let me read out. Socket of. Why do you use socket of? Why do you use series of? Why do you use data frame of? Why do you use list of? Why do you use student of? To create an object of the corresponding class object or not? Why do you use socket of? To create an object of socket. Which side? Client side, server side. What is the socket object? ఇప్పుడే కదా చెప్పింది. It is a bidirectional communication entities between two ends. Say once. It is a bidirectional communication entity between two ends. Bidirectional means two sides, that is connection is there. It is called what? Socket. Understood? Fine. Come to the point of it. Socket. Socket. I will explain the socket. Easy. Nothing is there. We all experience of understanding many methods. Scatter plotter, scatter off, bar off, pi off with parameters. Of course, you did not remember anything. I know that. So many parameters, arguments, everything done or not? Next. What is the next term? Socket off. Next I'm going to say bind off. Bind off. Third one I'm going to say listen off. Listen off. Listen, listen. Next, fourth one is called what? Next, accept off. Accept off. Fifth one is called what? Send with encode. Send with encode. Sixth, decode. Decode with, sorry, receive. RECV. RECV with what? Decode. Next is seventh one is called what? Connect. Finished. Connect. That's all. So let us start with socket off, bind off, listen off, accept off, send off, receive off, connect off. 70% you will get this terminology in my here. Here. Let us start thinking about first one. Let's start with the first one. Yes. Let us start thinking about socket off. What is the socket off? What is the socket off? This function, don't take much time, is used for creating an object of socket class. Socket class I am writing. Example I will write it. Syntax I will write first. What is the syntax? Variable name is equal to socket dot socket of. Socket of. Socket is called what? Module. Socket of is called a mod function name. That will return an object of what class? Socket class. Yes, a capital. An object of socket class. I will write it here. Variable name is an object of, here variable name is an object of class socket dot socket of, capital here. Like Oracle DB dot connection. Like socket is a small, S is a capital, is a class. Socket of is a function name. Socket, socket of, capital socket. If somebody asks what is a socket, what you will say? You have to ask a clarity. Are you asking definition of socket? Function name, class name, module name? First of all, man gurtundali ivanni. If you remember, you will ask all these things. Otherwise, you will say no socket, nothing is there. No socket, nothing is there. You will be out of order. Socket object created. If we create a socket object at which side program? Client side program, then it is called what? Client socket. Client socket. It always contains what? Requested data. Always requested data present into client socket. If we create socket object at this is at, if we create socket object at where? Server side program, then it is called what? Server socket. Server socket. I hope you are following. Are you following, students? socket off. I hope you are understanding this mechanism. Now coming to once a socket object is created, example also I will write it. Example. Example I am writing it. What is an example here? S is equal to socket dot. What is this now? Socket off. Socket off. S is equal to socket dot socket off. This is the object S is created. I may create it client side, I may create it server side. Are you following? For your recognition purpose, actually I can write both the sides S and S only I can write it. So coming to this place, that is done. Second function I am going to talk. Second function I am going to talk. Let us talk about bind function now. Bind function I am going to talk. How simple it is. So once you create a socket object, syntax I will write here. First I will write syntax here. Syntax. What is this now? Socket object. Which is socket object? Server socket object dot bind off. Bind off. Server socket object dot bind off. Bind off means what? There you need to specify tuple format. Tuple format. You see inside tuple format. There you need to specify DNS or what? IP address. IP address you need to specify. And you need to specify what? Port number you need to specify. Conceptually also you have done it. DNS, IP address or what? Port number you have to specify. In terms of what? Tuple you need to pass it. I hope you are following, students. So done. This is done. And this function is used for binding the server socket object at a certain DNS or what? IP address and what? Port number. Port number. So that it will be called as what? Server side program. So that it will be called as what side program? Server side program it is. I hope you are following me. This is called a server side program. I hope you are understanding, students. This is a very, very important. You have to bind it compulsory. Then only it is called as what side program? Server side program. Next, I'm going to take up one more thing. Listen. Okay. See, for example, listen, third one. Go to this place. You see this. Listen, I am taking. Sir, what is this listen? What is this listen? See, for example, for listening my class, such a big class is created. For listening another class, some small class is created. For listening somebody's class, more than bigger of my class is created, for example. That means when you are writing any program as server side program, you are going to configure the server side program in such a way that to how many clients you are going to communicate. The best example, our Zoom app is there now. All my links, all my 5 classes links are 500 capacity links. That means they configured the Zoom app and they are giving the paid app to the Naresh IT with what capacities? 500 listening capacity. Are you following? By default, Zoom will allow how much time? Small time only. It's a free trial version will allow. And we purchased it and licensed one. They are giving what? Some capacity to listen. Same manner. Our server side program want to configure in such a way that to how many clients you want to communicate. If it is a purely commercial purpose, this is useful. But for social media, for free internet services, is it recommended? No. So why it is outdated? Because it has a limited libraries, limited functions are there. It is not running in the browser. It is running in the command prompt only. These are all called what? These are all the reasons made as what? Not in usage now because of so much of web frameworks came into the picture. I hope you are getting it. So what is the meaning of listen? I will write it. Syntax, I will write it, students. Let us follow. Come on, what is this now? Server socket object dot listen of. What is this now? Number of what is this now? Client programs. Number of client programs. I'm writing. If I don't call this function, your server program will not communicate to any of the client. Are you following me? So I'm going to take up. This function is used for, what is this now? Configuring to how many clients, configuring the server side program, or nothing but configuring the server socket in such a way that to how many clients, to how many clients, server side program can communicate. Server side program can communicate. I hope you are understanding this. If you don't use this method, by default it takes number of clients are what? 0. Are you following me? So even in my development also, every server side program must bind with this thing and configure the server socket, configure the server socket, configure the server side program to how many clients it can communicate. Configure the server side program port number and configure the server side program to how many clients it can communicate. I hope you are understanding this now, students. So here I'm going to write it. Port number and configuring the server side program in such a way that to how many clients the server side program can communicate. Did you understand? By using which function? Listen function. Very, very useful. Done. Example, I will write it. Server socket object dot listen of listen of two clients. I'm just writing like this. This is about what? Listen function. Next function is called what? Accept function. It is a very danger. Very, very important and difficult to the student to understand quickly because of lack of practicing. Syntax. What is the use of that? I am saying taking what is this now? Server socket object dot what? Accept. The moment when you accept it, accept function returns two things. Number one, total client data will come at me. Accepting means what? Accepting your doubt or not? Accepting your doubt is nothing but getting your total object in my system. Because in your object, what is there already? Your requested data is there. So accept will do what? Getting your object as it is. Plus your IP address also will come with me. So accept returns how many values? Two values it returns. One is IP address of the client side program plus client socket object it will return. So here, what is this now? Direct rasanigada. Client socket, or I can write variable name 1, comma, variable name 2, variable name 1, comma, variable name 2 is equal to server socket object dot what? Accept. Accept function returns two values because in the beginning only I said function call with multi-line assignment. A function can return one or more number of values. It is returning how many values? More number of values is returning. Here I am writing. What is my conclusion now? What is my conclusion? I am writing here accept function, or I can write this function is used for accepting what request? Client side program request. Nothing but accepting which data? Client data. accepting client side program request, and it returns two values. Two values in the form of what? Variable name 1, comma what? Variable name 2. Here, variable name 1 represents what? Object of, come on, client socket, where client request data available, I'm writing everything in the form of notes. నేనేమి అక్కడి నుంచి ఇక్కడ తీసుకొచ్చి రాయట్లేదు. I'm just writing everything in front of you because I'm writing the code as it is like that. Because what code I'm writing, it is there in my brain. That code I'm writing. Actually, programming, you have to learn like that. All technologies, you have to learn like this only. No faculty will write the handwritten notes. They'll directly give something to you, something they will explain, some notes they will give you. Something they will explain, something they will give you, some program they will give you. Finally, student will not understand anything. So what we explain, same thing must come in the programming. That is subject delivery. That is called full length explanation of the subject. Come on. Variable name is called what? Client socket. Client socket. It is called where client data available. And what? And what next? And variable name 2 represents what? IP address of what? Client socket object. So here two things are coming, students. One is your data in the form of your object, from which address that is the data is coming. Both of them I am getting it. So how do you write the example? So here I am writing example. How do you write it? Client socket object comma client IP ADDR is equal to server socket object dot what? Accept of. Are you able to follow? This is the two things I got it. This is an accept function. It is a heart for your network programming. After accepting, next I will go to what? This one I am going to take up. What is the next one I am going to? That send off. Okay. I will do what next? I will read the data from this place. I will read. How to read it, I will tell you. How to get this data and everything. Now, the moment when you get it, I will do what? First, before sending, I will first tell you this function. Any function is okay, but if I say this now, it is reasonably, you will understand. So this I will take it as 5 antanu. Later 6 I will talk. Later I will talk about 6. These are the functions socket used in both client and server side. Bind, listen, accept. These are used at which side? Server side only. Now I am using RECV. Take your diagram once. What is this now? Server side program. What server side program is receiving request? It is known as what? RECV. Okay? RECV. Used at which side? Server side program. Server side program giving the response to whom? Server side client side program is doing what here? Receive. So receive function is used in both client side as well as where? Server side. And do you know, students? So send function also using it how many places? 2 places. Client sending, server sending. So RECV and send used in both the sides. Accept to listen, bind at which side? Server side. Socket of both the sides. Connect which side? Client side. Madhuvala, ఎందుకై మీరు అసలు? Every socket object must connect from where? ఇక్కడ connect ఉంటుందా? Am I connecting to you or you are connecting to me? You are connecting to me, right? Yes or no? I did not come to your home. I said that please connect to me. Did I say? Are you connecting to me or not? Or I am connecting to you? Once you connect to me, I will give confirmation that okay, you are my student. Correct or not? So coming to the point of it, connect function used at which side? Client side. RECV send used at where? Both the sides. Accept, listen, bind at which side? Server side. Socket off both the sides. So coming to this RECV decode. What is the meaning of RECV? The moment when I accepted, your total data available in where? Server socket or client socket? Server socket dot accept. Total data of client is available in the server side in the form of object called what? Client socket. Total data I am available, I am having with me. Your doubt from whom it is coming, everything is there with me. Data object dot syntax I will write it. Are you following me? So I'm writing here client socket object dot RECV. RECV. When you are using RECV, there is one small difficulty is there. It is supposed to accept the data, receive the data in some small packets. The minimum packet size is 1024 bytes. That is the size. How much size of the data you are receiving? Suppose you have the data which is more than 1024. Actually, how user knows that it is the 1024 size? 2048, 4096. How it knows? It is also one of the drawback here. If it is more than that, you have to specify what? Double than that. 2048, 2048, 2048. If it is more than that, you say what? 4096. Are you able to follow? What these are all called? 1024, 2048, and 4096. What these are all called? Capacity of the data which you are receiving. You have to specify the value. If you don't specify, your answer will not come. This will give you the data. The receiving the data will come in the form of what? Bytes data will come. Bytes object format it will come. Which format? Bytes object. Will you understand the bytes object? Bytes data is in an encrypted format or not? That data, I have to decode it. I have to decode it by using which function? Decode function. Decode function present with whom? Bytes object. So I will write what? Bytes object dot, bytes object dot what? Dot what? Decode of, which will give you the data in the form of str format. Str object will come. Str object will come. So here students, str object will come. Are you getting? Bytes object dot decode of returns the data in the form of what? Str obj. From that str obj, I will convert into int of, float of, bool of, anything I can convert. Are you following me? Instead of writing two syntaxes, you can write in a shortcut syntax as what you know. I will write this data. Here I am writing this format. Dot what? In place of this one, directly I will write this point. This point I will write it. This point I will write it. Client socket object dot RECV dot what? Decode of, which returns the data in the form of what? STR. Are you following? So this function is used for, this function is used for receiving. This function is used for receiving what? Client program request at where? Server side program and come on, and server side response at client side program. Both of them are called what? RECV only. Are you following me? For this purpose, I will use what? RECV. Okay, done. In the coding as it is, I will use it. Send. Easy. What is the use of send? Send for what? Send for what? Request sending, response sending. Request sending, who will do? Client. Response sending, both the places I will use. Send. You have which data by default? Int data, float data, bool data, 14 data types I have. 14 types of values I have. ND array is there. Data frame is there. Anything is there. That data I cannot send as usual. I have to convert into which type? Bytes type I have to send as usual. For that, you need to go for what? Encode your data. First, you convert into what? I have to go for your data should convert into what? Bytes. Who will convert your normal data into bytes? Encode function. Encode function present in where? STR. So, your non-STR data convert into what? STR. On STR, you call what? Encode. So that you will get which data? Bytes data. That's why bytes data type does not have symbolic notation with us. Did you understand? Bytes data type, byte array data type does not contain symbolic notation. మీకు గుర్తులేదు అది. మీకు ఏది గుర్తుండదు అసలు. Go to E:6 PM, data types, sequence category data type, bytes. We don't have symbolic notation for storing the data in bytes object because programmer cannot use bytes values in Python program, but we can convert other type of values into bytes by using which type? Bytes in that data type level. But we are coming to networking level now. So we are converting any type of value into STR. On STR, we will call it as encode that will come to what? Bytes. Understood? That's why there is no symbolic notation. Did you understand that? Yes. See, every point is connected to everything, but you only not connected to my notes. That is the final point. So send. What is the syntax? Syntax. Come on. Syntax. Here I said client socket object dot receive from socket object. To whom I am sending? Client socket object dot what? Send. What is the data available? STR data. STR data. Actually, this is called what data? Bytes data. What is the bytes data? How do you get it? Bytes data, students. Bytes data, first of all, how do you get it? Bytes data is equal to STR data dot, what is that? Encode. Encode. What is this STR data? You convert what data? Non-STR data into which type? STR. Ila. STR of non-STR data into float, bool, anything. STR of anything we can convert now. Meeku, go. Now, by looking at your face, I will understand. Something is fishy. Typecasting techniques. STR of. STR is used for converting all types of values into STR type. STR of into float, bool, complex. Anything you take, connecting to the target. Every point connecting to the target. How I prepare? By having total knowledge, we will put a point to point, bullet points there. If you read, instant energy will come. Something must be there, student. STR of non-STR data dot encode bytes data, client socket object dot data. Or you can also say this as what? Coming to this place, now I'm going to write it. What is this now? Client socket object dot send off. This part I will write it. Any confusion now? Any confusion? Baki, ikkade confusion. STR of only don't know. Anything like that? No? Yes, STR of non-STR data, convert into STR, encode off, and sending everything. So finally, bytes data will be sending. So this function is used for, I'm writing this function is used for sending What is this now? This function is used for sending which request? Client request to server side program and server side program response to client side program. Are you following me? Easier. This is called which function? Send function. I will use exactly same thing in the program. Last function is available called what? Connect. Where I will use connect? Who will connect to whom? Client will connect to server or server will connect to client? Server. So what is the next one you will write? Come on. What is this now syntax? What is the syntax? Come on. Socket object dot, that to client socket object, client side only. Client socket object dot, come on students, connect. To connect, what do you need to know? To connect, what you must know? ఇక్కడ చెప్పినా కదా. See, last. Hence, any client side program want to communicate with server side program, client side program must pass DNS, IP address, port number. What are all the things you need? Everything is there in the notes. But the only thing is you must remember. You will generally, student in Amirpet or student in colleges, students will listen like your college. Out of 1 hour 10 minutes, out one అంటే 140 minutes, అంటే 90 minutes, 100 minutes you take. How many minutes you will concentrate in the class? Generally, I am asking. Girls? Out of 90 minutes, 1 hour 40 minutes I will take, for example. 110 minutes. How many minutes you will concentrate? Just survey. 100 minutes. Okay. Second row, girls. ఏం లేదమ్మా ఇంటర్నల్ మార్క్స్ నౌ దే. హౌ మెనీ మినిట్స్ మా? కమ్ ఆన్ గర్ల్స్. థర్డ్ రో గర్ల్స్. 100. ఓకే. 90. ఓకే. సెకండ్ రో గర్ల్స్. అంత డీసెంట్ ఉండకూడదు. సో సైలెంట్. బాయ్స్. హౌ మెనీ? 100. సెకండ్ రో లాస్ట్ 100. Okay, boys in the back. So you are Giridharan. Ever feel like 10 minutes only, but 2 hours have passed. Okay. Now, Giridharan, other classes only 30 minutes. Okay. Online students did not put any points. How many minutes you will feel? You will concentrate? 100. Really? Then how can you forget the things if you concentrate 100 minutes? Why can't you remember such a beautiful points? You will not concentrate 100 minutes. Can I tell how many minutes you will concentrate? How many? 90. 60 minutes. Okay. While I am explaining, how many minutes I will concentrate on my teaching? 110 minutes. So, okay. Okay, students, come to the point. Let me complete my top topic. Client socket object dot connect. I will pass what? DNS, IP address, and this one. And what is this now? DNS, IP address, and port number I need. If this is valid, you will get what? Connected. Again, you will get error. Connection error will come. If anything goes wrong, you will get what error? Connection error. In database side, which error will come? If you concentrate 100 minutes, 90 minutes, which error will come? What is that? Which error? Database error, correct. Database error, correct. Correct, that is Oracle DB dot database error, CX underscore Oracle dot DB database error, MySQL dot కనెక్టర్ డాట్ డేటాబేస్ ఎర్రర్ అలా చెప్పాలి. డేటాబేస్ ఎర్రర్, ఎక్స్ ఎర్రర్, వై ఎర్రర్ అలా కాదు. నాట్ లైక్ దట్. వెన్ యూ స్పీక్ సంథింగ్ ఓన్లీ విత్ కోడింగ్, you speak to interviewer also with coding only. If you speak in coding na, they don't recognize your English problems. Understand? Speak with subject syntaxes you tell. Suppose if they ask question, you tell the syntax. They will think what? Oh, he is good in programming, not able to speak in English. So they will take you compulsory. Why? They need coding to do, not to communicate with all managers or somebody else. So try to do that. So DNS of what? Done. What is the use of this function? This function is used for this function is used for obtaining connection from whom? Server side program. Obtaining connection from server side program by the client side program. Are you able to follow now? Client side program now. Did you understand this concept? This is my concept, connection, connect function. These things you must read, and then tomorrow I will write the coding. Saturday, every Saturday, much important concept is coming. Of course, you are coming on Saturday, good boys and girls. You are good, but gurtundade, not remembering now. Good boys and girls, good, but to do job now, you are not a showcase piece, correct? You need to remember, right? Do that. Do much exercise on remembering. Okay, students, I'll stop my class 9:40, 7:46. I'll stop my class. Tomorrow class I will come. I will explain the programs on this area. Charting application also I'll tell you tomorrow. If you miss it, problem, charting application, I'll tell you. Beginning I show now, I'll show you that. So don't miss that tomorrow class. Students, online students, will stop my class. Tomorrow don't miss it. Thank you, students. All the best. And did you receive that? I put it into Google Drive. Total Python also I kept. And NumPy, Pandas, everything I kept. Received? Download it? Okay. Okay, students. Take care. Tomorrow don't miss the class. Attend it. Online students, if you have a doubt, you hold on. I'll talk to you. Students in online, Ravi Kiran.
Sir, number will you give today or tomorrow?
Ma, what is that?
You said the number you will give today or
My,
or tomorrow?
my number,
Yes, sir.
no problem. I can give now itself, no issue. 98494.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sending to everybody in the chat. My mail ID also I'm saying, students. Okay. You got it?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Students, any more doubts, my dear students, having the doubts? Anybody having the doubts, please raise your hands. So no more doubts, huh? So now I will upload your data. Upload this entire examples, entire documentation which I discussed so far. Don't miss tomorrow class, students. What ma? Obviously. Okay, ma, I'm just reading up the message. Okay, ma'am. This class will complete on exactly, I'm telling. I already said in the class once. Tomorrow, networking will complete. Monday, next only one topic is available. Regular expression topic is available. This will take 1.5 hour, 2.5